No. Should I just go? Hello?
Excuse me.
What?
Do you work here?
No, Hi.
I'm looking for Elias Bouchard. He runs this institute. I do have an appointment.
I don't, I'm sorry, I was just, but everyone went. Sorry, Brian Finlayson.
Peter Lukas. Lovely to meet you, Brian. Now, am I to understand you don't work here?
No, I was just, making a statement or whatever.
That's probably for the best. Elias can be quite protective of his people. Never really understood why. I mean, in the end, the only person you really have is yourself. Wouldn't you agree, Brian?
I don't... What?
Well, plenty of time to make your mind up, I'm sure. Now, if you'll excuse me, like I said, I have an appointment to get to. You are sure you don't know where Elias Bouchard's office is?
No. I'm sorry.
Not to worry. I'm sure I can find it. And I'm sure you need some time to get used to your new situation.
What?
Good luck, Brian.
Yeah, thanks. Oh.
Sarah? Melanie? Tim?
Martin, isn't it?
You don't move. Don't you come any closer, okay? I've got a knife.
Do you? That would seem wildly out of character from what I've been told.
Okay, stay back.
Please, Martin, I'm not going to hurt you. I just thought we might have a chat. Alone.
Oh, you're one of them, aren't you? A Lukas.
Yes, that's... Peter, pleased to meet you. Now, how did you know that?
I was just reading. John left some notes and...
I see. I'm sorry to have disturbed you. It's one of Elias's little jokes.
What?
Did he suggest you record a statement today? One that mentioned me?
Yeah. Sort of. I mean, not you specifically, but...
I'd
Lukas.
have a meeting with him today, he suggested. I'm sure he's watching from his office, grinning from ear to ear.
Don't...
I almost thought he genuinely wanted me to meet the team. Oh, well.
I'm really sorry. I don't actually...
Do I scare you, Martin?
Yes.
Probably for the best. And what's Elias like to work for, aside from orchestrating unsettling encounters?
That's a lot of it, to be honest.
And that's not something you look for in an employer, I assume?
Well, you've just said he's watching us.
Almost certainly. How is he as a boss?
Fine, I guess. I mean, not so much with the manipulation and sometimes the murder.
Oh, that doesn't sound like the Elias I know. He killed people himself?
I mean, I wasn't there, but that's what he said. And I did see the bodies.
Elias Bouchard getting his hands dirty. Well, must be the end times. So your advice would be less murder?
I suppose?
No, it's a good observation. I thank you for it.
You're welcome.
Well, I'm sure I've disturbed you quite enough for one day. Martin, I have a meeting to get to, and a few things to tell Elias to his face about wasting both our time. Be seeing you, as it were.
Yeah. Bye.
Must be a relief. Honestly, I thought there'd be more of a scene, but he always surprises me.
What are you doing here, Mr. Lukas?
Please, call me Peter.
No, I think I'm okay.
As you like. Look, don't let Elias get to you. You did very well. Really, I honestly think you managed to surprise him, even if he'd sooner die than admit it.
I'm sorry, I'm still not sure exactly what this is.
Oh, right, of course. Well, you've successfully managed to remove Elias as the head of the Magnus Institute. So...
Oh, God, what does that do?
Oh, no, not in any metaphysical sense. No, he's still very much the... How did he insist on phrasing it? Yes, the beating heart of the Institute. But Practically speaking, he can hardly fulfill his more mundane managerial duties from a jail cell.
So he knew this was going to happen?
Not exactly. He anticipated that you would likely find some way to remove him, so he made alternative arrangements.
Which would be you?
Exactly. To be honest with you, Martin, I didn't expect to be taking over the place so soon, or in quite such a state of disarray. But I'll do my best to keep the place afloat.
Right.
Oh, what's that look for? You won! I am sorry if it doesn't look quite like you hoped, but here we are.
I suppose so. So what now?
Well, if you could send Melanie and Basira up to see me, I'd like to introduce myself. After that, I'll put through a couple of weeks of paid leave for you all. I think giving everyone some space to try and deal with the loss of Tim and Daisy might do everyone some good. Oh, and if you want to talk to a counsellor, the Institute will, of course, cover any costs.
Thanks?
Don't mention it. I know how it can be with a new boss. I'd like to help you ease into it.
Is that... Can I... go?
Of course. Oh, and Elias said you'd probably be keeping a close eye on the Archivist's condition, so I'd be keen to hear any developments.
Sure.
Marvellous. And don't look so down. I know change can be scary, but eventually it happens just the same. I think we're going to great things, Martin. Great things.
You missed him, didn't you? Yeah, me too.
Which isn't a great sign, if I'm being completely honest. You talked to him.
I tried not to. I didn't mean to...
You talked to him. And that's understandable, Martin. Of course it is. Please don't think I'm upset. It's just not ideal. Shows how much work we still have ahead of us.
If I keep avoiding him, people will get suspicious.
They're already suspicious, Martin. That's not the problem. I had hoped that all this time apart would have given you the space you needed, but...
You said he'd probably never wake up.
And he beat the odds. Which is good. But it does make things more complicated. It doesn't actually change anything.
A simple hello isn't going to make any difference.
We've been over this. The sort of power you're going to need relies on your...
obedience.
Isolation. It needs to be you, Martin. You're the only one who could possibly balance between the two.
But if I could just explain...
And how do you think John's going to react to that explanation? Do you think he'll accept it calmly? Come through with a well-considered, rational response?
That's not fair.
Or would he assume he knows better than you and do something rash?
I don't like being manipulated.
That's fair. But I'm not wrong.
No.
Martin, this isn't how any of us wanted it to go. But here we are. And if we don't pull this off, it's over for everyone. John included.
Yeah, you said. But if things are really so urgent, then why didn't Elias say anything?
Because behind all his bluster, Elias is just like all the rest. He's so preoccupied playing the game, he doesn't pay attention to the big picture. He managed to convince himself that he could get his ritual off first, which would have made all of this a bit moot, but that's not really an option anymore. So it's down to us. You and me. The dynamic duo.
And so what? That means I have to trust you?
It would make things a lot simpler.
Yeah, well, things would also be a lot simpler if you weren't so cryptic about everything.
Well, if your archives were a bit better organised, it wouldn't have taken me almost 3 months to find the evidence you needed.
What?
I'm just saying that we'd all be better off if your archivist actually knew how to archive.
Peter.
Yes. Well. Unless I'm mistaken, I believe I've unearthed a few of Decker's old statements. Of course, I still need to do a bit of verification, but I'm confident they should provide you with all the context you need.
Good.
Great.
When all this is over, I'm telling him everything, with or without your permission.
Martin, when it's over, You won't want to.
Hmm.
But he will be safe. They all will.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm very excited to see this rota you've put together. Never had much of a gift for administration myself. Too many variables. Now, this box on the left, that's the library stuff, yes?
No, those are the dates. Look, are you sure you don't want me to teach you? It's a very simple program.
No, can't stand computers. Besides, that's why I have an assistant, isn't it?
Yeah, I guess so. So that's it, is it?
It is.
A new power.
The extinction. Yes.
So what, you're afraid of the competition?
Not at all. Honestly, that's the sort of thing I normally relish. I've always been a little bit of a gambler, and the higher the stakes, the better.
So this is... what?
This is different.
I'm listening.
Good. It's about time. There are two powers that, to my knowledge, have never attempted to fully manifest. Never had followers set them up for a ritual. Mother of Puppets and Terminus. The web and the end. The web, I've never really been sure about. If I were to guess, I would say it actually prefers the world as is, playing everyone against each other, and so on. The end, on the other hand. The end doesn't really need one. It knows that it gets everything eventually, so why bother? The end manifesting would not be a new world of terror. It would be a lifeless world, devoid of everything.
Including fear?
Exactly. It has no reason to truly attempt to enter our world. It's passive. But the extinction is different. It's active. It will seek to create a lifeless world in a way that none of the other powers ever would. Some interpretations suggest it might replace us with something new that can then fear annihilation in turn. But I, and those like me, would rather that did not happen.
So what? You want to stop it being born?
I don't know if such a thing is even possible, but if it is, then yes. Or at the very least, weaken it.
Okay, so let's say, for now, that I believe you, hypothetically. What does this have to do with me?
I'm still working out some of the kinks, but I believe I have a plan. However, it requires this place, and it requires someone touched by the beholding. Elias was, perhaps unsurprisingly, unwilling to help.
And you thought that since I'm so lonely already, I'd be ideal.
Yes.
You see, the thing is, Peter, I'm still not all that keen on being part of any ritual you set up. You know, in fact, if I were to be blunt, I'd say that it would be suicidally stupid.
Martin, it's going to be decades, if not centuries, before I get another chance to bring Forsaken into this world. Your lost archivist saw to that. Honestly, if Elias hadn't killed that woman, I'd have been very tempted. I warned him she was a danger, but he's always...
Peter!
Anyway, the point is that, yes, obviously, if I last that long, I'm going to try again. But I'm rather keen for the world not to end in the meantime. Martin, this is what we agreed. After the flesh attacked, you came to me. And I've held up my end of the bargain, despite your continued hesitation. Your friends have been largely untroubled by the many, many enemies that they have made.
What about the delivery guy? Brecon. And the coffin.
Was that its name? To be honest with you, I thought it was dead.
You thought wrong.
True enough. And as soon as I learned it was here, I moved to intervene. But, well, it turns out I wasn't really needed. And as far as the coffin goes, there's not much I can do about a bull-headed archivist who seems hell-bent on self-destruction. My powers only extend so far. Look, I'm not going to pressure you into doing anything you don't want to. It won't even work unless you're willing to commit. In any case, I have plenty of preparations to work on myself before it's ready. I'll see what else I can find to help with your reservations in the meantime, okay? Just don't hesitate too long. We are on a deadline after all.
Fine.
Right, then if you'll excuse me, I have a family thing to get to.
Are we going to talk about John?
Do we need to? Because, to be honest, I'm not entirely sure what's been going on with him these past couple of weeks.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Martin, my patron, hopefully our patron someday, doesn't give me any sort of special insights. I'm not quite the accomplished voyeur that Elias was. I have to keep tabs on things the old-fashioned way.
What, turning invisible and eavesdropping?
If you like, but I'm only one person, and I can't keep an eye on everything.
Or anything, apparently.
As I said, one of the last shreds of the circus delivered a gateway into Too Close I Cannot Breathe. I went to help, but was too late. Then your detective friend left on one of Elias's wild goose chases. Then John willfully hurled himself into the coffin. I did not intervene, because thankfully I did not agree to protect your friends from their own idiocy. Though actually, he gave it more consideration than I thought he would.
He's not a moron.
If you say so. Regardless, he's in there 3 days, and then what do you know? He manages to pull himself out of the coffin like a grubby Jesus. And he even brings a penitent thief along in the form of your pet murderer. Does this seem about right to you so far?
Yeah.
Now, from my point of view, so far, none of this has been any of my business. We have bigger concerns than this little soap opera you call an archive. What does puzzle me, though, and I mean that genuinely, is why you were piling tape recorders onto the coffin while John was in there. It's a question, Martin. It's not an accusation.
I don't know. And I just felt like it might help. He's always recording. I thought it might help him find his way out.
Interesting. Were you compelled?
I don't know. Maybe. I definitely wanted to do it.
But?
I'm not sure where the idea came from.
You should watch out for that. Could be something dangerous.
Sure.
I can't help but notice you're recording right now.
It was a statement, right? That's what we do.
Anyway, point is, I'm not your captor or your torturer. I'm not going to tell you to stop talking to him, or even saving him if it comes to it. If that's not a decision you're willing to make yourself, me scolding you isn't going to help. You know what the stakes are now, and I just have to hope you're with me on this, focusing on the big picture.
Yeah.
Okay, now I really am running late, so if you don't mind...
Well...
I'm impressed. And grateful.
I didn't do it for you.
Even better.
It's easier this way. I'm sure you'd have had no problem sending her away.
I hadn't really thought about it. And now, thanks to you, I don't need to.
Yeah, well, it seems to be your go-to move for dealing with anyone.
I'm just not big on confrontation. You understand, I'm sure.
We are not the same.
Of course.
So what now?
Did you read it?
Yeah.
And?
I believe you.
You don't still think I'm trying to trick you into a grand ritual?
I mean, I'm not about to start chanting stuff for you, but the details you've given me all seem to check out. So far.
Good.
So what's our next step?
For you, keep researching. I'm sure we haven't found all the statements in here that deal with the extinction yet. One of the downsides of not serving the Ceaseless Watcher is that we have to actually look things up. Not to mention the fact that Gertrude was distressingly good at obfuscation. The more you know about our enemy, the better.
And you?
I have my own explorations I need to attend to. And a, meeting to arrange. For you.
For me?
I'm absolutely delighted with your progress, and I feel you've earned some straight answers.
But not from you.
Oh, no. That sort of conversation makes me very uncomfortable. No, I'm owed a favour by a friend of mine. I've asked him to stop by when he's back in the country.
You're not just going to tell me, maybe?
When have I ever? Oh, come now. What would life be without the occasional twist? Oh, speaking of which, I've had a report of a workplace dispute in the library, and I would value your input. I'm trying to get out of the habit of, what did you call it? Sending them away?
Fine. Another day, another extinction scare. The more things change, I guess. I just wish Peter would finally get round to telling me what we're meant to be doing about it.
Then I have good news for you.
Peter, we have talked about this.
In my defense, it is still quite funny.
So, what's the news?
I think we're finally ready.
Great. And does that mean I finally get to know what we're ready for?
Yes. Well, for the most part. To a certain degree, you really need to see it for yourself.
Peter.
You know the tunnels under the Institute?
Yes, I remember.
Well, there's something at the centre, let's call it a device. Now, our biggest problem with the extinction is lack of information. We know it's emerging, but we don't know how or where.
And this device will help?
Yes.
And I'm going to be the one to use it for you?
I very much hope so. If you need more time...
I don't.
Good, because I was going to say there probably isn't any.
If it's been down there all this time, how come we haven't found it? John explored the tunnels pretty thoroughly, and Leitner was down there a lot.
It's very difficult to reach if you don't know exactly where you're going.
And you do?
I will. By tomorrow I should have my hands on a map, and then we go.
Right. Will I be coming back?
You're not going to die, if that's what you're asking, but no, if all goes well, you won't be. How does that make you feel?
Nothing. Nothing at all.
Excellent. I'm so proud of you, Martin.
I really don't care.
Perfect. Is everything all right, Martin?
It's fine. Don't particularly like it down here.
Ah, yes, of course. Hard to trust the doors, I imagine.
Yeah, well, everyone else seems to these days, so...
But she's still the same corridors, I suppose. I'm sure... What was his name? Tim. Tim
I'd
would...
really rather not talk about it, Peter.
Very well. This way.
Look, are you sure about that map? I'm pretty certain the tunnels change.
Oh, don't worry about that. Ink's practically still wet. Not to mention, if they do change, well, I happen to have something that will change them back.
That's a Leitner.
It is.
And the blood on it?
That's Leitner too.
Right.
Do you want to see how it works?
No, I'd really rather you didn't mess with it.
No, I insist. Watch.
Very impressive.
I'm reading. Shush.
Peter, there's a... Peter, I think there's something in there.
Mm-hmm. I'd stay quiet if I were you.
That was,
Yes.
And it's going to...
Make sure everyone's too busy to follow us. They'll be fine. Probably. You could still go help them, if you insist. Very good. Come on.
What is this place?
The panopticon of Millbank Prison. Not quite as Smirk originally conceived it, of course. Jonah Magnus made certain adjustments.
And it's been down here the whole time.
Why do you think this was chosen as the Institute's location when the prison closed? It's a significant site of power for the beholding. From the tower in the center of this room, you can see everything.
But there's nothing in the cells.
I don't mean the cells, Martin. I mean everything. Come on. Mind your step. This comes from an era before safety rails.
I don't understand. Why are we here?
It's quite simple, really. I want to use the powers of this place to learn about the extinction, what it's doing, where it's manifesting, then we can stop it.
And you need me for this?
Correct. Without a connection to the eye, any attempt to use it would likely end very messily indeed. But thankfully, it just so happens that you hold such a connection.
So that's it. Both lonely and watching.
You must admit you're the perfect candidate.
I suppose I am.
There is, of course, just one other complication. You'll have to dispose of the current occupant.
Who is that?
Jonah Magnus. His body, at least. Sitting here, watching, binding it all together, growing ever older. If you want to take his place, well...
I'll need to kill him.
Yes. Don't worry, though. I brought a knife. What are you doing here, Elias?
Oh, you needn't worry. 2 against 1? I couldn't stop you if I wanted to. I just wanted to be here at the end. Can a man not watch his own death?
What? What? How are you even here?
Well,
Don't let him distract you.
Peter.
Elias.
Both of you, just shut up. Just give me a second to think.
Of course. You can take all the time in the world.
Come now, Martin. I would have thought you'd jump at the chance to kill me.
That's not... Why wouldn't you help against the extinction?
Because I'm a busy man. It has never been my top priority.
I don't believe you.
That really doesn't matter, I'm afraid. It's the only answer you're going to get.
If I do kill you, will the others survive?
Elias.
Come now, Peter. It's a valid question. And you should have addressed it yourself, really.
I do. I really, really do.
Then do it, Martin. We're the same, you and I. We don't need anyone else. Watching from a distance, that's always who you've been. Have you enjoyed it these last few months? Drifting through the archives, unseen, unjudged. You'll like it in there, I promise.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I would.
Then do it. Kill him and help me save the world.
No. Good way to get killed.
I warned you, Peter.
But you do serve the lonely.
Oh, I'm getting there, but if this is the final test or something, then bad luck. The answer's still no.
No, this isn't fair. Do you have any idea what you've done? You knew. He must have
Elias,
known.
Jonah had nothing to do with it.
No, that's not... You can't.
You've lost, Peter. Admit it. He played you like a cheap whistle.
No! Shut up!
Peter, it's time.
Fine.
Great. Now, perhaps one of you then can tell me what's going on.
It won't be that bad, Peter. You'll see. Now, he'll be here soon, so you can leave or...
Oh, no. I'm not going to make it easy on him. You haven't won yet.
Your choice. Just make sure to leave the door open.